Hello and welcome to this information session for parents and guardians of 6th year students. During this presentation, I'm going to talk about the CAO, how exactly it works, the process of the point system and how that operates, and then I will discuss other pathways as well, including PLCs and apprenticeship programs. I suppose the first thing to flag with you as parents and guardians is that it can be a really confusing time for our 6th year students as they try to get to a point where they're finalising the decisions for what they might do after they leave school, and it can be quite overwhelming for them. There are over 1,300 CAO courses to choose from, and in addition there are almost 2,000 PLC courses together with other training programs, apprenticeships and employment options. And I think young people fear that they might make the wrong decision. So for example, there are 159 CAO engineering courses to choose from. So even if a student is settled on pursuing engineering, the process of selecting the right array of course options requires a bit of navigation. But it is possible to avoid excess worrying over CAO course choice by fostering effective decision-making at home with open and supportive discussion. And later on in the presentation, I will guide you through effective course and college research. I'm sure that you're having conversations at home with your child and probably discussing what jobs they might be suited to, what courses or colleges they should apply to, and what pathways might best suit them. Is it a degree or a diploma or a certificate? Perhaps it's a PLC course or an apprenticeship. And if it has been a while since you have been involved in that system yourself, you may have noticed that there are a lot of changes to the system that you remember. It is really important that you as parents and guardians get involved in the conversation. I am having these conversations in school with all the 6th year students in a one-to-one setting and also during class time every week. And they are having the conversations with their tutors and subject teachers and indeed with their peers. And recent research carried out on guidance in Ireland by the Department of Education found that parents and guardians are still the most influential factor on young people deciding what they might do after school. So the conversations you're having at home, they are really important and influential. So hopefully, I want to make sure that you're armed with all the information you need to feel confident and empowered to have these conversations at home with your child. I'm going to focus on a number of different pathways: the CAO, PLC options and apprenticeships. Most students will apply through the CAO for some course or other, but it is important to note that there are other options out there and other pathways to follow. I want to start with having a look at the National Framework of Qualifications. I think it's important to understand this framework before we start discussing the different options that are available to students. So what we have here is a framework that maps all the different qualifications that you can receive in Ireland onto a framework, and it ranks them by level. The higher the ranking indicates the higher the level of education. It makes it very clear when you are applying for a course what standard of education or level of education that course would award them at the end. So all our students presently are the proud owners of a level 3 qualification, and when they have completed the Leaving Cert, they will jump up to a level 5, and so they will leave with a level 5 standard of education. And the CAO then deals with the next 3 levels of education: level 6, level 7 and level 8. And when students are applying to the CAO, they are effectively applying for a level 6 or a level 7 or a level 8. Students then can move up through the levels, so each of the levels act like rungs of a ladder or stepping stones. Level 8 courses do tend to be slightly higher in terms of points requirements to get into them, but if a student misses out on a level 8 course that really interests them, they can apply to a level 6 or a level 7 course and then work their way up to a level 8 degree. And then you have a level 9, which is your postgraduate course or master's, and level 10, the highest level, is a doctorate, a PhD. I would like to start with the CAO, what it is, and more importantly, what it isn't. The CAO stands for the Central Applications Office, and it is based in Galway. The CAO manages all the college applications on behalf of the sixth-year students who may be applying to go to college. Rather than an individual student applying to all the various colleges separately, they make only one application to the CAO, and the CAO deals with all the different colleges or HEIs, which are the higher education institutions, on their behalf. They do not set the points in advance. This is a key concept that we try to get across to the students, how exactly the point system works. For any parent or guardian new to the CAO process, I would like to take a minute to talk through the points system. So the system awards H1 to H8 for higher level subjects and O1 to O8 for ordinary level subjects. You can see the percentages marked down the middle. From 90 to 100% is the equivalent of a H1 or an O1, depending on the level you were doing the subject at. For each result or grade you were awarded in your Leaving Cert, there are corresponding CAO points that you are awarded. For example, if you get a H1 grade, you are awarded 100 points. For a H2, you were awarded 88 points, a H3, 77 points, a H4, 66 points, and so on and so forth. It is worth noting that a H5 is worth the same amount of points as an O1 on an ordinary level paper. So you are awarded 56 points if you get a grade of between 90 and 100% on an ordinary level paper, but you get 56 points if you get a grade of between 50 and 59% on a higher level paper. When a student is calculating their CAO points, they count their best 6 results. Students may be taking 7 subjects, some may be taking 8, and some may be taking 6, but all students can only count their best 6 for the purposes of the CAO. Higher level maths does give you a bonus 25 points for a H6 or higher. So the maximum points a student can get is 625 points. You may all be aware that the CAO opened for registration on the 6th of November, and I know that a lot of the 6th years have already registered, which is great. If they haven't, please can you encourage your child to register now. It's important to note that by registering with the CAO, this does not mean that students have to enter their course choices at this stage. They have until the 1st of February 2024 to select and enter their course choices. So at this point, all students have to do is register. They have to enter just details like their name, their date of birth, some other personal details, and then pay the fee online. If there are any issues with accessing a card or paying online, please let me know and I can assist you with this in class. The fee at the moment to register is €30. So how does the process work? The CAO application process aims to give applicants their highest course choice. So they rank their courses in order of preference, and the CAO aims to give them or offer them the highest preference that they qualify for. There are 2 lists of 10 choices, so a total of 20 choices. There are 10 choices for level 8 courses and 10 choices for level 6 and level 7 courses. Whether students apply for 1 course or 20, the fee is the same, and I would advise students to enter courses on both lists. It's really important that students take note of any course that is restricted. A restricted course on the CAO is any course where students have to do something extra as well as their Leaving Cert in order to get a place on that course. So for example, the HPAT for medicine, an audition for music, or a portfolio for art. And any restricted course is clearly marked in the CAO handbook, and care must be taken because these courses cannot be applied for after February the 1st due to this extra assessment that is required. In terms of ranking their choices on their CAO list, the advice to students is to rank their choices in genuine order of preference. So students need to ask themselves, what is the course I genuinely want to do most, and rank this number 1. And then if I don't get that course, what would I be happy with next, and rank that number 2. And so on and so forth, all the way down the list. And generally good advice is to list the dream courses at 1, 2 and 3. So students should aim high. What are they aiming for? What would they love to do if points weren't an issue? What is that dream course? And then moving down along the list, what is realistic? What are the realistic courses? Review their summer results, review their November results, their recent results of their November assessments, so that they make sure that they are pitching their course choices at the right level. So what is a realistic course for the points that I am currently tracking at? And then down at the end of their list, course 8, 9 and 10, they should be their safety net courses. So the courses that they are interested in, but if they have a bad day in one of the exams, they know that this course is well within their reach and that they are more than likely to get an offer of this. And when the offers day comes out, they get at least 1 offer, and then they can decide to accept or reject this. And the key advice from this slide is that courses should be listed in genuine order of preference. And if students approach their CAO form with this in mind, then they can't go too far wrong. When we are talking about the CAO, we often have the conversation about points. What were the points to get into a course? Did the points go up? Did they go down? But in fact, there are 3 different doors students have to go through in order to get an offer from the CAO. And so really the CAO points is the last door students have to walk through. The first door of the CAO is the minimum entry requirements. So all colleges have minimum entry requirements that they expect a student to receive in their Leaving Cert to gain entry. Usually for a level 8 degree, the minimum entry requirement is at least 2 H5s and 4 O6s. So that's for a level 8, and for a level 6 and a level 7 course, colleges usually require 5 ordinary level subjects. Some colleges have slightly different entry requirements. For example, Trinity College require 3 honours subjects at least to gain entry into their college. And you can double check the minimum entry requirements for each course on Careers Portal, which I will be bringing you through later on in the presentation. So just to note that before you have the conversation about points, it's really important to check, does the student satisfy the minimum entry requirements to get into a college? Door number 2 is any specific course requirement that a specific course may need. So, for example, engineering requires students to have higher level maths in many of the college courses. Primary school teaching requires higher level Irish. There's the example that some courses require a student to have 2 science subjects, and indeed some courses require students to have a particular grade in a specific subject. So first, check the minimum entry requirements, then the subject course requirements, and only then do you enter through the third CAO door, which is the points needed to get into the course. So the third question, what are the cutoff points needed to get into a course, is probably the most asked question in the guidance classroom and the guidance office. What points do I need to do science? Or what points do I need to do engineering or nursing? And unfortunately, the answer to that is we just do not know from year to year. So the best indication we have is what the points were last year, but the points for this year will never be set in advance, and so we don't know how many points a student needed until the Leaving Cert results are published in August. So now I'm going to talk you through that process because it's an important process to understand. How do the CAO allocate places? Well, when examination results are released in August, they are entered into the CAO computer, and the computer checks each applicant's results. So for each course the applicant has applied for, the computer first determines if the applicant has the minimum entry requirements for the course. If the applicant meets the minimum entry requirements for the course, the applicant's points are calculated for this course choice, and all eligible applicants are then placed in a list in order of the points they achieved for each course that they applied for. The colleges then tell the CAO how many places are to be offered on each course, and the CAO then makes offers to the required number of applicants on each course, starting with the applicant with the highest points and working down until enough places have been offered. Let's take an example. So you can see here, if we look at the college course Arts in UCC, and the code for that is CK101. So in the box here, we have the applicants for Arts in UCC. And the examination results, or the Leaving Cert results, have not yet been released. So these applicants are in no particular order. And we're going to trace the progress of the applicant marked in red. So Leaving Cert results are issued, and applicants are then placed in a queue for each course they applied for. Their position in the queue is determined by their points. The applicant with the highest points is placed at the top of the queue, and the points achieved by the applicant in red determines their position in the queue for each course they applied to. So we can see that applicant red is in 8th place for their first choice, which is Arts in Cork, and then they are in 6th place for their second choice for computer science in UCD, and then in fourth place for their third choice, AL 033, and so on. You can see here that the applicants marked in green have enough points to be offered places, and our applicant in red does not have enough points to be offered their first preference, the CK101, but they did have enough points to be offered their second preference, DN201, and so once the student meets the requirements, the minimum entry requirements, the subject requirements, and the points, they are then offered this choice or this course, and everything below their second preference disappears from their CAO application. So once the students have entered those three doors, or have passed through those three doors that we talked about earlier, so they have met the minimum entry requirements, they've also met the specific course requirements, and they have enough points, they are offered the first course on their list that meets those three sets of requirements. And once they meet those requirements, they are offered their course, but all lower preference courses disappear from their CAO list. And this is really important to understand, especially when students are filling in their course choices. And it's back to the idea that students must write their courses or list their courses in genuine order of preference. If we look at this student's course preferences as an example, so this student got a total of 445 points. So you can see that the cutoff points for their first preference was 495. So this student did not get enough points to be offered their first preference or their first course on their list. Then we can see that their second preference, the cutoff point was 480 points. And so again, the student didn't get enough points, so they didn't reach the 480 points. So that student will not be offered their second choice on their CAO list. And then if we look at their third choice, we can see that the student here has enough points to be offered this course. So the cutoff points were 430. So this student scored 445 points, so had an extra 15 points for this course. So this student was offered their third choice on their CAO list. And so choices 4 to 10 are erased. So they disappear from the application and they're permanently erased from this student's CAO application. Now it's really important to note that regardless of accepting or rejecting an offer, an applicant may be eligible of an offer of their first or second choice on later rounds of offers. So you can see from these examples how important it is for students to list their courses in genuine order of preference. Students do not need to guess what the points are going to be for the courses that they're interested in. They simply just need to list their courses in genuine order of preference from the highest preference 1 to the lowest preference 10. So to try, when they're filling out their lists, to ignore how many points each course were the previous year, and not to order their courses by listing the courses that had the highest points first. Because if they are entitled to an offer, they will be offered the highest preference that they're entitled to. So to stress again, it's so important that a student makes their course choices based on genuine preference rather than on expected points. They shouldn't be writing down courses thinking about how many points they feel they're going to get in their Leaving Cert subjects next June. So it's a huge mistake, but the mistake is made every year by lots of students to base their choices only on their present expectation of examination performance or the points level of the previous years. As I mentioned earlier, that CAO points for each course are never set in advance. So they're determined by the number of places on the course, the number of applicants to the course, and the CAO points of those applicants. So once students list their courses in order of preference, they can change their course choices free of charge after May the 5th up until July the 1st. So the CAO is now open for registration. Students can register. They do not have to fill in their course choices until the closing date, which is the 1st of February 2024. So the CAO closes on the 1st of February 2024, but students can change their mind. So once they've entered their courses, they're locked in on the 1st of February 2024, and they stay in their order until the 5th of May, when students are able, free of charge, to go back into their CAO application and rearrange their course choices. And they can do this up until July the 1st. But please, if students change their courses online and they've supplied an email address, an acknowledgement will be sent to that email address. So please make sure that you're checking emails all the time, especially emails from CAO. And also, as I mentioned earlier, it's really important that any course that is restricted is on your list of preferences for the first closing date, by the first closing date of February the 1st. You cannot add restricted application courses as part of a change of mind unless it shares the exact same assessment procedure with the course you've already applied for by February the 1st. Just to mention again those restricted courses, these are restricted application courses. They have early assessment procedures which may start as early as February. These may be a portfolio, an audition, might be an interview or a suitability test. And so please take note that restricted courses must be on your CAO application before February the 1st. 5 days after the Leaving Certificate results are issued, the CAO begins to offer places in a series of rounds, and this happens generally from late August onwards. So the CAO presumes that courses listed on the CAO application are in strict order of preference. So a student will be offered the preference highest on their list, for which they meet the minimum entry requirements, and have achieved the necessary CAO points. So a student could be offered a course from their level 6 and 7 list and a course from their level 8 list in each CAO offer round. Only one course from one list can be accepted per round. So students have to make a choice. They can either choose their course offered from their level 8 list or the course offered from their level 6 and 7 list. So they are not able to accept two courses. So students have to think carefully about not accepting one of these offers as they may not receive any further offers in subsequent rounds. So the advice is generally, if you are offered a course, that you accept it, and then if spaces become available on courses in the second or third round, a student then may be offered a course higher up on their preference list, but they will never be offered a course lower down. And once a student is offered a course, all lower preference courses disappear from a student's CAO application. It is possible to gain entry to higher education courses on reduced CAO points under two access programs. And these programs are the Higher Education Access Route, which is for students from socially disadvantaged areas, and the Disability Access Route to Education. So both schemes are for Leaving Certificate students under the age of 23. And to qualify for either scheme, you must first apply to the CAO. Then students are advised to read pages 21 to 23 of the online 2024 CAO handbook, which can be found at cao.ie, if you feel that either scheme applies to your child. So the next step then is to proceed to the accesscollege.ie website, where you will find comprehensive details regarding both schemes. And if your child applies, they must tick the appropriate here or there box, or indeed both, on their application, on their CAO application by the 1st of February 2024. They then have 1 month until the 1st of March to submit their application online, with supporting documentation posted to the CAO by March the 15th, 2024. The DARE programme is designed for students whose disabilities have had a negative impact on their second level education. The applicant and their school complete an educational impact statement which details how their disability has impacted their education, along with evidence of the disability. And here is aimed at boosting the number of students whose socioeconomic background means they are underrepresented in higher education. There are 6 criteria used: income, medical cards, means tested social welfare payments, socioeconomic group, school and home address. You don't need to match all 6, and there are different combinations for eligibility. So while the criteria for eligibility for the routes are different, they both operate in a similar way. And each participating college and university has a reserved number of places to offer eligible here and there applicants at lower Leaving Cert points. So for such applicants who require a reduced points offer, offers are based on a sliding scale of those closest to the CAO points cutoff to those furthest away from it for their chosen course. The reduction in points can vary every year and differs college by college and depends on a number of factors. So it depends on the overall number of places on a course, the number of reserved DARE places on the course, and the number of here and there eligible applicants competing for these reserved places. So it's important to remember that an applicant, like all other applicants applying to college, needs to meet the minimum entry requirements before being considered for a here or a DARE reduced points offer. Every year, Access Colleges run an information session on the here and DARE application process. And this year, the information session is taking place on Saturday, January the 13th at 10 a.m. It includes a general presentation on both schemes, how to apply to it, as well as a question and answer session on how to make a successful application. I would highly recommend that you attend these information sessions if your child is eligible for either one or both schemes. Applicants for DARE and HERE schemes must tick the box as part of the online CAO application and complete this section before the 1st of March 2024. And they are going to need your help with this because students are required to post supporting documents to the CAO by March the 15th. These documents may be, for example, a P21 or indeed a social welfare form. Financial grant applicants through SUSI should also tick a box in the CAO online application and then apply separately to susi.ie. SUSI does not open until mid-April 2024. And remember that you can apply to both schemes, so you can make an application to both DARE and HERE. And applicants who are both DARE and HERE eligible will be prioritised by colleges when allocating reduced points places. I've included this slide because it just draws attention to the important dates for all CAO applicants. All of the deadlines and important dates are on the CAO website and also in the CAO handbook. So you can read through those important deadlines and dates and maybe mark them in your own calendar at home. So I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that I would talk a little bit about the PLC pathways. So a PLC is a post-leaving certificate course. It's usually a one-year course, and there are over 2,000 further education courses available in further education colleges around the country. And PLC pathways are becoming more and more popular as an alternative gap year between school and college. So sometimes students use a post-leaving certificate course as a pathway into college. So there is a wide range of pre-university courses available, and instead of repeating the Leaving Cert, the student has the option to focus intensively on a particular area in a PLC course, for example, like science. And at the end of the year, the student can then use their post-leaving certificate course results to apply for the CAO instead of their Leaving Cert results. It is still a competitive process, and there are a number of places ring-fenced each year for PLC applicants in a range of different courses. Not every course, but in lots of courses. Some students opt to use the post-leaving certificate pathway as a transition year into college. So it helps them gain independent learning skills, or to gain the independent learning skills that are required for third level study. We know that students moving into university from a PLC tend to have a higher retention rate, so they learn better independent learning skills. And it can be a really interesting pathway, and it's certainly worth looking into. And I will point out how to research the further education pathway for any of the courses that students are researching on Careers Portal. And also to remember that students can apply to a PLC college alongside the CAO. So there is lots of information on post-leaving certificate courses on Careers Portal, but also there is a website, plccourses.ie, that I would recommend students to look at if they are considering a post-leaving certificate course. So just to note that applications to PLC colleges are separate to the CAO. So you do not, or you cannot apply to a post-leaving certificate college, a post-leaving certificate college through the CAO. So you apply directly to the PLC college. It's important to note that you don't require Leaving Cert points. The minimum entry requirements are usually 5 passes in ordinary level Leaving Cert, and there is always an interview. But I would also like to note that it's really important, no matter what course students are looking at, that they absolutely check out the minimum entry requirements, because even for some PLC courses, there are certain minimum entry requirements. Also, what is very attractive about the PLC courses is that they are now free, as the €200 fee has been abolished. And as I said in the previous slide, that the PLC can be used to access CAO courses or as a route straight into the world of work. There is an amazing variety of courses, and students apply to individual PLC colleges or now via the FE, the Further Education tab on the CAO website. Another option for students are apprenticeships. These offer an alternative route to education. So it's a blended approach of on-the-job employment-based training and off-the-job classroom-based learning. Apprentices earn while they learn, and they develop work-ready skills. So they are learners of all ages and come from all kinds of educational and employment backgrounds. They lead to qualifications from level 5 to level 9 on the NFQ. And successful apprenticeships receive a QQI qualification, which is recognised internationally. And since 2016, the range of industries covered by apprenticeships has grown significantly. So you now have a choice of taking apprenticeships from industries such as computer and ICT, medtech, insurance, finance, accountancy, logistics and hospitality sectors. And the good news is that more apprenticeships are being developed all the time. So students and you as parents and guardians can explore the various apprenticeships currently available using the Career Explorer on the Careers Portal website, where you can view details on all the apprenticeships and even check out those that are in development and expected to be available soon. So details such as the course content, the training involved, and links to where the vacancies are advertised are all contained in each of the 50 plus apprenticeship profiles available on Careers Portal. I would encourage you to watch some of the many videos that have been uploaded or that have been collected by Careers Portal for you to get a real feel for what apprenticeships have to offer. And it's always best to hear directly from those who have done their apprenticeship. The best website to use if you're researching apprenticeships is www.apprenticeship.ie. Students applying to college in the UK need to apply to UCAS at www.ucas.com. It's a different application process to the CAO. The application fee is £27.50, and students get to select up to 5 course choices. The application is very different to the CAO. Students are required to write a personal statement, and this personal statement is very important to their application. It's not something that can be done the night before or indeed the week before. It needs a lot of thought and a lot of work needs to go into it. Students are also required to choose a teacher as a reference, and predicted grades are required from the school. And the closing date for all UCAS applications is January the 31st, 2024. So students applying to college in Europe apply to UNICAS at www.unicas.ie, and this site is the best research site for courses delivered through English in Europe. There are approximately 1,200 programs delivered through English in Europe at 350 universities. And for a fee of €38, students can register with UNICAS, and UNICAS then helps the students apply for 8 courses in Europe that are delivered through English. This can be an attractive option for students because sometimes it's easier to get into these European colleges than Irish universities, but it is important to note that the dropout rates are much higher. With regards to grants, the maintenance part of the SUSI grant can be transferred with the student. In some countries, particularly the Scandinavian countries, there are no fees, and generally the fees are lower in the European colleges. Application deadlines are generally around the 15th of January, but there are other deadlines that will be later in 2024. I'd like to spend a few minutes now showing you how to complete effective course investigation and direct you to the best research tools available to students. The 2 most important resources are the CAO website, where you will find a digital copy of the CAO handbook, and careersportal.ie. All students have a portfolio within the Careers Portal programme, where they store and keep records of all their course and college information and research. Students need to be very familiar with the CAO handbook. The handbook contains information on all of the courses, the restrictions, the deadlines, the fees and application guidelines. It is no longer provided in hard copy. The students must download it from the CAO website. There is also an option for students to personalise the handbook, and details on doing this is on the website. So when you go into the CAO website, you can see at the very top of the page the various tabs, and if you click on the orange tab, it'll bring you to the link where you can download the CAO handbook. Also, just to point out that any changes to courses will be listed here on the Changes to CAO Handbook 2024 section. The CAO website provides excellent guides and information on the CAO process, also on PLC courses in further ed, apprenticeships and access programs. I would strongly advise you to have a look at the website and read the information in the Parents and Guardians tab. I'd just like to draw your attention to an excellent CAO guide for parents and guardians that will assist you with the CAO process, and this can be found in the Information for Parents and Guardians section. There's also a really good video guide, and there's a points calculator here, and also they provide alerts to important dates. The resource students have been using most over the past 3 years is Careers Portal. And all students have an online Careers Portal portfolio where students store all their college and course research. This is a really important source of information for students, and it helps them to make informed career decisions through understanding themselves, the world of education and the world of work. Students must spend time on careersportal.ie researching in detail any course of interest to them. They need to go through everything from the minimum entry and course requirements that I mentioned earlier, to the course structure, and most importantly, to the course modules. It is the modules that will provide students with detailed information on the course content so that students can understand exactly what they are going to study when they go into college. They need to consider which subjects in a particular course they are attracted to and which subjects they are least attracted to. Also important is career progression, thinking about where will this course take me, what occupations might be available to me if I graduate with a degree in this area, and what further progression routes will this course lead to. What additional information about this course have I found out from anyone involved in it is also important. Maybe I've spoken to someone who is doing the course or somebody who has done it already. Have I attended the open day? Have I gone on and chatted online to students who are completing that course presently? These are all really valuable pieces of information for students when they're doing research. The other thing to look at is related courses, to research what other similar courses are available to them. And finally, to reflect on the information gathered and ask themselves, why would I choose this course and not that one? And to help with this, students are advised to make a pros and cons list, as this can really help in the decision-making process. And you can see here, there's a really nice guide on the Careers Portal Reach website, which brings the student through all of those key areas, and it's the resource entitled Course Investigation. The main home page on Careers Portal is where you start with your course research. So it's very easy to navigate. You enter the title of the course you want to research or the course code. And the course code is the code listed in your CAO handbook. So let's take engineering as an example. When I put engineering into the course finder, you can see that a total of 249 courses appear. So in order to narrow the search, we can begin to use some of the filters that are listed on the left-hand side of the page. So if we begin with clicking on the CAO Higher Education filter, for example, this will narrow our search. And it leaves us with a total of 177 engineering courses. To further refine our search, we can click on the county. So for example, let's look at courses in Dublin, and we can see that we are left with a total of 38 courses that we can begin to research. So, to continue our research, let's take engineering in UCD as an example. This brings us to the following page, and you can see here that it provides students with a course summary. It has links to the colleges, to the videos. It provides information on related courses, interviews, and on career sectors. It also provides information on the language options available. So, for example, in UCD, the Horizon programme gives students the opportunity to explore areas that interest them beyond the scope of their course. So a student studying engineering can take Chinese or German or Japanese as an elective. It explains in details the entry requirements for the course. The QQI FETAC links shows if there is a PLC pathway into the course and how to find this pathway. And you can see here that if you click into that link, that engineering in UCD does not accept applicants with further education and training awards. It also details who this course is suited to based on the John Holland Interest Inventory, and students can compare the results of their interest inventory that they completed in their Reach portfolio with the information provided here. It also provides information on career progression and also links to further information on the course. When you click on further research on the left-hand side of that page, the college link to this course will appear. And this leads you directly to the college webpage, where more detailed information on the course is provided, including international career and graduate study opportunities, testimonials, and other entry routes. The most important link here to open is the What Will I Study link. Here you will find an overview of the modules covered in each year of the degree course. Students need to read this information first, but most importantly need to scroll down the page until they find another link, which is for detailed information on the subject content, and open this. Also on this page, you can access student blog posts where students explain what electives are in UCD and how to benefit from electives while studying engineering. So students then should scroll down to the link View All Modules, and here the content is broken down even further. And if we click the first link, Chemistry for Engineering, for example, we will be brought through in detail to the content of this module. It will tell us what and how I will learn, how will I be assessed, what happens if I fail, when is the module offered, and so on. So it really gets into the very small details of each module. And then if we click on, say, the first module, Chemistry for Engineers, you can get access to really detailed information on that module alone. So you can see the level of information that's provided on the college websites, and it's really, really important that students read this information before they decide to put this course down on their CAO. Another excellent experience for students at this point in their decision-making process is to attend the college open days. And a lot of the college open days have taken place throughout the month of November, and I know our sixth years, lots of our sixth year students have been attending them, and I think they've really got a lot from going to those college open days. It's an amazing experience for students to just take the journey from home to the college and get a real sense of the campus and having a look around. So I'd really encourage students to go and make sure that they go to the college that they think they might like to attend next year. All the open days and the webinars for various maybe schools and all of the colleges, are listed on an events calendar in the careers portal homepage. So I would really recommend that on a Sunday evening, just to spend 5 minutes having a look at this calendar. And in this way, you won't miss any of those crucial information talks. I'd also like to bring your attention to our school website. And on the school website, there is a direct link to our school guidance and counselling website. So this is what the school guidance and counselling website looks like, and you can see that any important documents I will upload here onto this site. So it's really important that you click in to the website, once or twice a week. We're nearing the end of the presentation, but I just want to provide you with a little bit of information on Susie. So information on financial support for further and higher education is available on www.susie.ie. Your child may be eligible for a maintenance grant, and you can fill in an eligibility reckoner, which is on the website, to establish if your child will be able to apply. And applications for this grant should open next March or April. Students apply online and they will need your assistance. If your child intends to apply for a grant, they must indicate this on their CAO online application. And the CAO will then provide their identification, their contact and offer acceptance details to the grant authority. There is also a broad range of bursary and scholarship schemes in operation, which provide an opportunity for students or potential students to access additional financial support if they meet certain criteria. All of the scholarships are listed on the Careers Portal website, so all you need to do is search for scholarships. Also, many of the colleges or many of the higher education institutions offer their own scholarship or bursary schemes, and interested students should contact the college they are attending or planning to attend. So, finally, for students, I suppose it's really important that they take ownership of their research and that they take responsibility for going to the open days, researching their courses, really getting into the detail that I showed you in the earlier slides. Research is so important. The worst thing for a student is to find themselves doing a course next September and realizing by week 3 that actually, a lot of the content is not really of interest to them. So please really encourage your child to research. Also, it is the student's responsibility to keep track of all deadlines, application deadlines, fees. If something has to be submitted, it is the student's responsibility to track this and check emails and respond to the various colleges. I think this infographic is really nice, just for you guys to check in as your role as parents and guardians, to help students with researching their courses, to ask the questions, get them to list the pros and cons. Why would they do a course in one college and not in another? I'm hoping that all students now have registered with the CAO, so please do encourage them if they haven't done so already. Please make sure that students are entering their courses in genuine order of preference and not listing them in order of course points, putting the course with the highest points first. It's really important that they're putting down the course that they want most in place number one. Also, it's really helpful if you can remind students of the important deadlines, and they are all listed on the school website, on Careers Portal, on my Guidance and Counselling Twitter page, and please, it's really, really important that deadlines are met. Also, keeping, next summer, reminding students to review all of the CAO correspondence carefully, when they are offered a place, that they accept it promptly, and also to accept offers online by the reply date. As I mentioned earlier, there is really good information for parents and guardians on the CAO website, but also here on Careers Portal. If you follow the link for guidance for parents and guardians, you can see that there's a lot of good information there. Keep an open mind about the courses students are looking at. Many of the jobs of the future haven't even been invented yet, and many of the large companies don't mind what your degree is in, as they run graduate programs and they can train students in. So there are always alternative routes. So finally, just a very quick note on the common errors that are made every year when students are filling out their CAO application. So the first one is that students do not do enough research into courses, and they find themselves sitting in lecture theatres in early September and very quickly realise that actually this content or this course is not of interest to them. The second common error is that students list their courses in order of points instead of in order of preference. So students must list their courses in genuine order of preference. Underestimating or overestimating leaving certificate results. Another common error. Targeting low point courses in hope of getting a college place, or targeting a level 8 course only and ignoring the level 7 and the level 6 courses. And finally, sometimes students don't consider courses outside certain geographic areas. I know even students sometimes feel that Maynooth University, is too far away, and in fact it's a really accessible university. So just to keep those errors in mind. Thank you for listening. I hope the information has been of help to you. I am available on Monday, the 11th of December between 8:30 and 9:30 in the school canteen. You're more than welcome to drop in. If you have any questions or you want to clarify any details, please come in and we can have a coffee and I can answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.